Welcome to the live virtual India Voice Fest 2023. Rachel, I want to thank you. Let me begin by saying thank you. I don't want to end by saying thank you because I believe thank yous should be said at the beginning. So thank you for joining us and thank you for doing this. How are you feeling? And why don't you tell us a bit about you? Although I've given that formal introduction, but we would love to hear from you. What are you doing these days? And give us a little insight about you.
Yeah, so thank you so much for having me. It's an absolute honour to be here, and thank you everybody for joining us today. So yeah, a little bit about me. Who am I? I've got a lot going on, as you mentioned. I came into the voiceover industry. So I'm an actor. That's I decided I was going to be an actor from a very young age. My grandfather was an actor, so I was inspired from a young age, and I found voiceovers about 23 years ago, 24 years ago, something like that. I was at drama school, and my teacher at drama school suggested that I go into voiceovers. And at that time, I was like, "What? I'm going to go to Hollywood and win an Oscar. What about this? Voiceover, whatever." And I came out of drama school and did a few bits of acting, some films and stuff. But I came across this workshop about voiceovers. It was a 2-hour workshop, and I thought, oh, I'll just go along and see what it's all about. And I got into the studio, and it was just a magical experience. I just felt like I'd come home. I had this incredible moment, and I'll never forget it. And I remember the smell, I remember the texture on the walls, the color, everything. And it just was this moment of just that I'd come home, and this was where I was meant to be. And it was,
I need to interrupt you here, Rachel, because what is so amazing. This resonates so much with me because I can sense the passion. It's almost as if you're speaking about your beloved. It's
yeah.
almost as if you're speaking about your first love. And trust me, I say this very often. I've been a part of the craft for almost 25 years now, a little more than that. And I am often heard telling people that even today, I feel as if when I enter a studio or enter a voice booth or a dubbing room, the smell or the entire vibe of that room, it still creates a certain nervous energy as if I am on my first date. So
Yeah.
this is what about the craft. So yeah, I understand that. Please go ahead.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it is, it's the best job in the world. Like, absolutely. And I am so grateful every day, and every single voiceover job that I book. I am so grateful. And I do find myself in the studio often going, just pinching myself, that I'm being paid to do what I do. It's an amazing industry and an amazing career. So yeah, I came into the industry long time ago. It was a very different industry back then because there was no social media. We had to send things like CDs in the post. You had to have an agent here in the UK in order to get work. It was, you didn't have a home studio. So, and there was no help and support. So there was, and it was kind of, I think it was it was almost like a secret society. Those who were kind of in the voiceover world were all like, shh, don't tell anybody. And people outside the voiceover world were kind of looking down on voice actors like, that's not real acting, and the voice actors were all kind of behind the scenes laughing, going, ha ha ha, this is the best job ever. And it was very difficult to get into voiceovers back then. And I struggled and struggled, and I share this with you guys because I got rejected so many times in the early days of my career. It was not easy. I wasn't one of these people that sort of fell into it. I decided this was where I wanted to go, and I got told no multiple times. So agents were continuously for years telling me, no, you're not good enough, you don't belong here, off your pop. But I kept going. And I would send my CDs out to all the agents, and then I'd get rejected, and I would give myself a moment, a few months to kind of, just gather myself, and then I try again, and I get rejected, and I try again. And I tell that to all you guys because I know what it's like when you have this calling for voiceovers and you struggle to get your first foot in the door. So know that, you keep going. If you believe that this is where you're meant to be, keep going, because there is a place for you. And it can be tough to get in, but once you're in, it's like woohoo. And so what happened with me was that
The last segment, I'm sorry, I'm interrupting you again,
Yeah, go
Rachel,
for
but
it.
this was like a masterclass, an inspiring masterclass already in perseverance, because
Perseverance.
this is exactly what we end up telling a lot of young aspiring voice talents,
Yeah.
that you've got to hustle, and it's
Yes.
and the journey till the time you break into the industry, or till the time you get your foot in the door, is going to be very tough. But if you can hang on there, and if you can give enough time, and if you do not give up, uh,
Yeah.
and then once you're on the other side, it's another story, that once you are inside, there's another struggle to stay inside. So life is a struggle, but then, as they say, if there is life, there is struggle. So if you have struggle, it's
Yeah,
good news. That means you have life. So that's amazing.
definitely.
Amazing, Rachel. So please continue.
Yay.
I'm really, I think everyone who's watching this is already mesmerized. It's very inspiring, very interesting. Go on.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. And just on that note, guys, I do feel like we need to have resistance, in order to push through. So when you get those rejections, when you feel that things aren't going your way, know that that's just energy, and actually that brings out the strength in all of us when we are being sort of pushed. So yes, perseverance. So keep going. So what happened with me, I had an opportunity came about. It was actually my first big proper audition, and it came because I saw an advert for a voiceover job for a Spanish speaking voice actor.
Okay.
I don't speak Spanish
Okay.
at all, but I wrote to them anyway. Now, yes, I was but I did, before you guys all think I was completely crazy, I did say in my letters them, I wrote to them and said, look, I see that you're looking for a Spanish speaking voice actor. I don't speak Spanish. But if you need an English speaking voice actor, let me know. And it just so happened that it landed on the desk of the producer the day they were casting for the voice of Virgin Media here in the
Okay.
UK. So Virgin Media it's a huge brand, mobile phones, internet, TV. And so they called me up and said, would you come in for an audition? And I was, okay, sure. Yeah. I went in for the audition. I had a wonderful time. I really enjoyed myself. And I think that was the key. I just went in and enjoyed myself. And I came out having no idea, I didn't know how I'd done. And it was a couple of weeks later, and I was in the gym, and I got the call from the producer, and she said, you got the part. You are now the voice of Virgin Media. And at the time I was like, wow, amazing. I have no idea what that means, but you're excited, so I'm excited. Great. And it was just one of those amazing jobs that I went on to record every week for 13 years, for
Wow.
Virgin Media, Virgin Mobile, Virgin Business, across all the networks. And I'm still on a lot of things now. I don't do as much now as I did, but it was an incredible kind of job to kind of come into the industry with. And very well known here in the UK as well. And it was fantastic. And again, that story is an important story because you never know where these amazing opportunities are going to come from, and you have to throw your hat in the ring. You have to step up to bat. You have to just go for it, and amazing jobs will come from places you don't expect.
Absolutely. I completely I agree with you, because I feel this resonates so much with my own journey, where I sometimes say that destiny plays a very big role. In fact, I
Yeah.
remember when I made a TED talk, a TEDx talk. I was a TEDx speaker, and I think my topic was destiny is a matter of voice. And I spoke about how destiny plays a part, and how everything cannot be pre-planned. And what you're saying is how you just you threw the hat in the ring, and you went at it, and you kept trying and trying, and magic happens one day. So, Rachel, what you're saying, I have an interesting question here on my
Yeah.
screen. Javed, a voice artist, he's asking that, when you're talking about rejections, and you said you need to hang on, you need to keep trying. He says, what motivates you to stay motivated? So for me, it is, how badly I want to do this. But I want to know from you, what is it that works for you?
Yeah, I mean, how do I stay motivated? I think it's really important to know why you do what you do. That's really important, and I do a lot of coaching, a lot of teaching, and a big thing that I tell everybody to do when they start working with me is to write down your voiceover story. What is your voiceover story? Why are you doing it? Why are you here? And we all have our own voiceover story. I'm sharing with you guys mine. There are more elements to that, and there are things like, for me at school, when I was a kid at school, I was a terrible reader. I was terrible, and I used to hate getting up and standing up in class and reading in front of the school. That the class, that for me was just the worst thing ever. And what I think is really interesting, of course, is that that's now my job, and I get paid to do that. But what is your voiceover story, and why are you doing what you're doing? And I think that that's really important, because I think when things are difficult, and times are tough, and they will, and they are, and we all have challenges in our lives, being able to dig into why you're doing what you're doing. And for me, I absolutely love what I do. I love inspiring people, empowering them, using my voice to educate, to empower. And I do have a lot of things going on in my world. As well as being a voice actor, as you said before, I run the voiceover network. I also produce demos. I edit the Buzz magazine. I am an entrepreneur. I also have 2 kids and a really naughty puppy. Oh, actually, I can't call him a puppy anymore. I don't know where he is. He's probably going to come and join us at some point. So I do have a lot going on, and people often ask me, how do you do all the things? How do you juggle it all? And there's one word, and it just comes back to love. I love what I do. And I have had many, many challenges in my career, in my life, some health things as well that have really kind of pushed me to kind of make it, am I on the right track? I had moments 5 years ago where I was really struggling, and I nearly, packed it all in and moved to the country and thought about getting chickens, but I came to my senses, and I think, we're always going to get those moments where we're being pushed, and there'll be people who'll come into our lives who maybe will rock our boats and say, oh no, you don't deserve to be here, or health issues, or all sorts of things can come along. And I think knowing why you're doing what you're doing is so, so important. I also think, who you surround yourself with, so, so important. The people that you surround yourself with, and in our lives, we have all sorts of people in our lives, our family, our friends. But in terms of the voiceover industry, it's really important that you surround yourself with voice actors that support you, that inspire you, that empower you on your journey. Because, as I said, we're all going to have challenges, and there will be times, and we all have those moments. Everybody has that negative voice, by the way. It's not just you. Okay, it's not just you. Every single human on this planet has that negative voice that comes in every so often and says, you're rubbish, you don't belong to be here, you don't know what you're doing. And it's important to recognize that, and to understand that, again, everybody has that. The most successful voice actors, the most successful entrepreneurs, Richard Branson, all these amazing superstars, they all have that negative voice.
Absolutely.
And it's just about how you deal with that, and how you respond to that, and acknowledging it, knowing that everybody's got it, and just not investing your energy and your time in it, letting it go, and then letting the positive voices of the people around you as well in.
Absolutely. These are golden nuggets of wisdom. It's about, for us, as especially as freelance voice artists.
Yeah.
So any freelance creative performer, whether you're a singer or an actor or a dancer, every day is a journey of trying to drown out that negative voice, and trying to not let the negative voice win over the positive voice in your head. And I guess that is the life of any freelance artist anywhere around the world. So I'm glad we are doing this. We are watching you in India, and we're getting to learn this about you. You are there in London, and now I feel that while you might be in a different country, but I think it's the same story everywhere. So when you were talking about the voiceover industry way back being a secret society and very difficult to break into, I almost thought you're talking about India.
Yeah.
But I guess it's the same story everywhere. But we've come a long way. We've come a long way from that time to an
Yeah.
environment today where, thanks to social media, thanks to a digital world, anyone and everyone from any part of the world, any corner, can has an opportunity.
Yes.
Social media has opened up opportunities, a very democratic platform, but it also brings with it challenges. So, Rachel, I want to know from you. I'm sure, again, it's the same story in London or in UK. Thanks to social media, everyone and their nephew and their uncle, and probably their puppy, all of them want to put it on their social bio that they are a voiceover artist. So, but not everyone has talent, or not everyone is trained to be a voice artist. So how do you, now you are an absolute veteran, and I understand that from your initial days of struggle, and finding it difficult to find your way in the industry, probably that prompted you to start something like the Voiceover Network, where you're opening up the world, and bringing voiceover artists from across the world together. So I have two questions. The first one is, what are your views on using social media openly without any, without what do you say, any filter, or whether you even have talent or not? What does it do to the voiceover market? That's one. But the other bigger question is, what do you do at the Voiceover Network, and how did this idea of uh, bringing everyone together and becoming like a support group and strengthening the community come to your mind? And then I have a follow-up question after that. So let's take the social
Okay.
media question first. What are your views on the current social media scenario when it comes to aspiring voice artists putting it up on their bio that they're a voice artist?
Yeah, I mean, I think social media, we're so lucky to have social media. It's an incredible tool to use as a voice actor. And I think it is used in the wrong ways for a lot of people. And they think that it's all about what they say and what they do and what they post. And I often say to people, actually, the key to success with social media is the interactions. It's about interacting with people. It's about commenting, liking, sharing other people's posts, people you want to work with, other voice actors, people that inspire you, casting directors, agents, getting to know other people in the voiceover industry. That's where social media is really, really important. It's not about you kind of talking all the time and shouting out there. It's about you interacting with other people. So I just wanted to kind of throw that in. And I think if you are, if you feel you want to put you're a voice actor on your social media, I think absolutely go for it. um I think it's important to make sure that you feel ready and trained and prepared, and you are, it's an amazing industry. There are more opportunities now in voiceovers than there have ever been. Okay, there is more voiceover work, there are more opportunities. It's amazing, but there are also more voice actors now than there have ever been. So there's more competition. And the way to get to make sure that you are the best that you can be is to be professional, to make sure that you are training, that you feel ready, that you've got a home studio, that you've got the most amazing voiceover demos, and that you are continuing to train. So that's really important. So yes, social media. So in terms of the voiceover network, so what happened with me, as I said, I struggled to get into the industry, and then I got the Virgin Media gig, which was great. And then I kind of I started kind of getting traction, and then I got a great agent, and suddenly things just took off, and it was wonderful. And I was having a brilliant time, like loads of ads and documentaries and video games, and then I went through this experience, which some of you may be able to resonate with. It's called feast and famine. So one minute I was booking loads of work and everything was great, and I was in and out of the studios, and then suddenly my phone would go dead, my emails would go dead, and it would just go quiet. And I was like, uh oh. So I figured it out. I don't know what I'm doing. Uh oh. And then suddenly it would pick up again, and I'd be like booking loads of work and it'd be fantastic. And then it would drop off again. And I went through this feast and famine. And it was, when it was high, it was great. But when it's low, it's really difficult. So I tried to figure out, right, what is it? What is it about this? Because I knew when I was in the studio, people really liked what I was doing. So what was I missing? And I realized that it was the business side of being a voice actor that I didn't understand. And I went to I did performing arts at college. I went to drama school. For me, it was all about being on stage. Give me a microphone, and I'm happy. I never studied business studies, nothing like that at all. So at this point, I decided, okay, that's what I'm missing, is the business side of being a voice actor. And so I decided to start learning. And luckily, it was one of those amazing moments of kind of synchronicity, whatever you call it. I had an email from a company called the Richmond Business Expo, and it came through to my email. It was like on the Wednesday. It was for a free business expo that was happening on the Friday at Twickenham Rugby Stadium, which is just down the road from me. So I'll go along. It was free. Okay, we'll go along. It's business. It's all small businesses. It does not feel like my kind of crowd. But I went along and I bumped into someone I knew from school. So that kind of helped. And he said, "Oh, are you here to see Nigel Botterill?" And I was like, "Nigel who?" Anyways, we were all ushered into this huge auditorium, and this tall, bright shirt coloured Yorkshireman bounded out onto stage. And he's an entrepreneur who's had multiple, over 8 businesses worth over $1 million, very successful entrepreneur. And he came out onto stage, and I was struck by how generous he was. He was just giving away information and advice, and I was frantically writing things down, and I was amazed. And he said something which I love to share with other people, because it was one of those moments that changed everything for me. He turned to the audience and he said, "It's all your fault."
Wow. Okay.
Right. So I'm sat there going, "Uh-oh, what do we do?" So he said, in business and in your voiceover business, guys, when things are going well, like, well done, celebrate, get yourself a bottle of champagne, do the things to celebrate, because well done, it is all your fault. But when things aren't going well in your business, in your voiceover business, unfortunately, it is all your fault. Now, that was just a massive moment for me, where it was like light bulb moment of, wow, because I'd spent years as an actor thinking that it was somebody else's fault. It's the agent's fault. It's the casting director's fault. It's the other actor's fault. And we live in a society, in a world where there is a lot of blame going on. It's not, there's somebody else's fault. And actually, when you take it in and you own that and you go, you know what? This is my life. This is my career. I'm going to take responsibility for the things that go right and the things that go wrong, and stop blaming other people and make things happen. Magic happens. And so that was where things changed for me. And that moment, 3 months after that moment, I went for a drink with a couple of other voice actors in West London. And I thought, wow, this is really useful. We should do this more often. And I started a little meetup group it was originally called the West London Voiceover Artist Meetup Group.
Okay.
Which is a terrible name. Luckily, I changed it. But it was just, let's get voice actors together, and let's have a few drinks and just connect and talk about voiceovers and what's going right and wrong. And it grew and grew, and people from other parts of London started messaging me saying, "Do you have to live in West London? I live in North London." And I was like, "Yeah, sure. Like, anyone can come." And then I made it Central London, and I came to my senses and changed the name, and it became the Voiceover Network. And it was just a meetup group that just grew and grew and grew. And 2014, I decided I wanted to make it a better networking environment. I wanted to get agents and casting directors and producers in the room. Okay. And so I thought, right, how do we do that? Okay, we give them free food and booze, right? So then I was like, okay, now I need to charge.
That always gets them in here.
That's it. So now I need to charge. And then we had our first summer party in 2014, where I charged people for tickets, and it was fantastic. And then I 2014 was an interesting year in the voiceover industry. It was a real wild west. You know, suddenly the kind of cat was out of the bag. People knew about voiceovers. So people were coming into the industry. You could set up a home studio, and then there were people in the industry who were getting quite cross, sort of, you know, and in the UK it was a bit like kind of get off my land. It was sort of and we had the pay to play sites. We'd found out they were misbehaving. It was a real
Mhm.
melting pot. And I looked at what I created, and I looked at the industry, and I thought I could carry on kind of doing what I'm doing, or I could put my head above the parapet and try and make a difference.
Okay.
And luckily, I had some great business mentors around me who helped encourage me. And so I officially launched the Voiceover Network as a membership organization in January 2015. Because I wanted to create a safe place for voiceover professionals from around the world to come together to get the right help, support, and advice, and to be part of a community. And you know, I'm a big, you know, rising tide raises all boats, and I
Yeah.
love that quote. And so yeah, so I launched it in January 2015. I was 9 weeks pregnant. It was me and a part-time assistant. I had no idea what I was getting myself into, but it was a really strong feeling like I had to do this. It wasn't even, I think back to that, I think actually I don't actually think it was a choice. It was like this need, like I had to do this. This was really important. And yeah, we're coming up to 9 years now, and we have hundreds of members, thousands of members around the world. We've helped so many voice actors on their journeys, and I'm so proud. You know, I believe and I love empowering people to follow their dreams and do a job that they love, because I believe that the world would be a better place if more people followed their dreams and did what they loved. And feeling that I'm a piece of that, and I help people on their journeys is everything to me.
That's such an inspiring story. I think what you're doing, Rachel, through the voiceover network is, like you said, empowering people to follow their dreams. And the best part about what you're doing is it's a global community, so it is not restricted
Yeah,
to a country.
yeah.
And I have Soni Thakkar writing in that your excitement is contagious, Rachel. And she also
Thanks.
says that life lessons happening here, and I could not agree more, because everything that you're saying doesn't just apply to your career as a voiceover artist, but
Yeah.
it is indeed a life skill, and which is amazing. I'm seeing a lot of interesting comments from people who are watching,
Oh,
and they're agreeing with you, and it's amazing. Blah 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 blah. Someone says, "VO job, nope. VO career, nope. VO business, yes," with the fire emoji. So that's Lakshya Bhatnagar. That's amazing.
yeah.
Rachel, you think something like that? You think that can be blueprint to adapt to a country like India, because India is again possibly one of the biggest voiceover and dubbing industry markets in the world,
Yeah.
but not just because of the sheer size of our country, but also because we possibly are the biggest consumers of media and entertainment content. And India is many countries in one country. We just don't have one language. We just in broadcasting, we probably have 25, 30 languages in which we broadcast. And
Yeah.
let's not even get into the number of languages that people speak. So
Yeah.
when you were speaking about the voiceover network and how it has started off as a passion project, it completely takes me back to India Voice Fest, because in 2018, when we started India Voice Fest in a country where uh, the man on the road doesn't even understand or realize or imagine that this is even an industry or a career
Mm,
or a business. So for us, we've suffered anonymity for the longest time in India as well, like most other countries. And we thought that a platform like this could bring hundreds and thousands of industry professionals together. And for the last 6 years, I like to believe that this was an idea whose time had come. And when we started off with a bang. And in the year 2020, when the world shut down, we made it a 1 week event, and we had more than
mm,
5,500 people joining in
amazing.
from all over the country. So that spoke about the scope of this industry in India. Uh, Tell me, do you have members from India? I know for sure that Neha Gargava, who's a dear
Yes.
friend, she's a
Yeah.
fantastic voice, award-winning voice. She's the one who connected us, and
Yes.
I guess I would like to believe she's a part of the voiceover network.
She
Uh,
is. Yes. Yeah.
do you have a lot of members, a lot of voiceovers from India who are members?
We have a few, we have a handful, but we would love to have more. And there is, I believe in sharing information and empowering people, as I mentioned before. And so members of the VoiceOver Network get access to incredible online resources. There's a members area of the website where you get to come, you get all the recordings from all of our webinars over the last 9 years. And I've been doing those every week and interviewing different casting directors, agents, producers. So there's a huge amount of resources. We've got loads of online workshops as well in our VoiceOver Academy. There's the Facebook group. There's a workout group once a month. There's a voice reel demo critique once a month. There's just tons going on. So yes, I would love lots of you to come and try the VoiceOver Network.
So how is the situation with AI in the UK? And what are you guys doing to combat it?
So yes, AI is that elephant in the room, and it's an interesting one, isn't it? Because it's been something that's kind of been a bit of a dirty word in the voiceover industry for years, and everyone's like, "Shh, don't talk about it." And now it's happening. And the last year, it's like, okay, guys, we can't just pretend it's not. It really is here. I think there's lots of things happening, and I think it is looking positive. I don't think being scared and getting upset is helpful. There are a few reasons why I think voice actors are going to be okay. Now, there is going to be voiceover work that will go to the AI. Okay, so that's we just need to accept that. The low end stuff, there is going to be stuff that's going to go to AI, but AI will not replace voice actors. A few reasons being, first of all, you need to know what you want, right? When you use an AI, you need to know what to ask the AI in order to get the right results. I've never worked with a director who really knows what they want. So it's true, right? Directors and producers do not know what they want, and that's why they come to voice actors.
What has been a bane of our life for the longest time is suddenly becoming the boon of our life, because our directors and producers never know what they want.
Yeah.
So what do you do? Yeah, absolutely. Okay,
so
that's
how do
one
they get
interesting
what
reason.
they want from an AI machine, and so I think that's we have that over machines for sure. I do also think there's the possibility that it will bring more work into the voiceover industry, because I think people who would never have used a voice actor, who would never consider using a voice actor because they think, oh gosh, that's so expensive, I think will use AI and then will think, actually, I'd like to upgrade to the real thing. So I think there's a possibility that it will increase work in the voiceover industry. So we don't know what's going to happen, right? But I like to be positive. I don't care how advanced the AI machines get, you cannot replicate connection. And as voice actors, we are hired. We're not hired actually for the sound of our voice. Yes, there's an element that's the sound of our voice, but we're actually hired for us. And everything that's happened in your life, good, bad, ugly, happy, the love, the pain, the struggles, all of that has made you the human being you are today. And that influences the way that you communicate. And we are hired as communicators. Now, when we're being truthfully, authentically ourselves, nobody will sound like you. Nobody, because you are completely unique. And I think that that's what's so beautiful about voiceover and about the human voice, is that, and we're using, spiritually, we're using, our chakra. There's a lot of amazing things that happen in order to get a good voiceover read, that connection. And I don't believe that a machine, no matter how advanced it is, will be able to replicate that.
That's absolutely wonderful. That's absolutely wonderful. The other day we had a session where we had the co-founder of an AI company called Neural Garage come in, and even he sounded very optimistic. And interestingly, he spoke about a similar word. You used the word connection. He used a word relationship. He said he mentioned that this is the time when voiceover artists need to understand that they are not just hired for their voice, they are hired for the relationship that they have developed with a client or with a product or with a brand. and what they bring in is far more than what a machine can bring in. And yes, there are low hanging fruits which will be sacrificed in a way. There is work that will be done by a machine, but not every work can be done by a machine, and there's no machine in the world that can replace, like you said, the multiple layers of emotions, of intonation, of connection, of what makes a human voice. And I'm so happy to meet you, because I am also one of those supremely optimistic people who believe that it is not really doomsday as we are imagining it to be. But if you upskill yourself, if you make yourself relevant, if you educate yourself, if you make yourself versatile, and if the machines are smart, you need to be smarter. So
Yes.
this is the time, like we were talking the other day, to get out of your comfort zone. And what you are doing, Rachel, at the VoiceOver Network, I think that will play a very big role in times to come, because this is the time, for the longest time, voice artists around the world have enjoyed the comfort of living and working in isolation.
Yep.
And I'm sure you'll agree with me, but it must have been very difficult to bring people together. It has been very difficult for us here at India Voice Fest, and I'm sure at the VoiceOver Network or anywhere in the world. So this threat is actually going to be a blessing in disguise, because this is actually going to get people together, because we have no option but to come together and fight this together.
Yes. Definitely, absolutely. And it's really important that we unite globally, and I, I've always been a big believer that there are wonderful things happening in voiceover communities around the world, and we need to come together so we can share that with each other, because there's some brilliant things that are happening at SAG-AFTRA in the United States, and in the UK. We can learn from that, and we've got some great things happening in the UK, like we can share with you guys in India, and you guys have got great things happening that you can share. And I think if we can all come together as a global voiceover community and share, then we all benefit, and it helps everyone. And just going back to the AI thing, the other thing that I meant to mention, this is my other key point, is that changing behavior, getting producers to change the way that they behave, is really difficult. So it actually doesn't matter how cheap or how good the AI becomes, getting producers to change from the way that they currently work and cast to using a machine is going to be almost impossible. So just know that. Please don't panic. And I know there has been times of panic this year, of like people going, Argh. Now we do need to be very, very careful about. You need to be really careful about the work that you do and the contracts that you sign, and making sure that you do not sign your voice away. That's super important. Contracts and being part of things like the VoiceOver Network, so that you've got people to ask. We have lawyers that are part of the VoiceOver Network. We've got lots of agents and casting directors, and there are always people here, my team, to help you and help you, in your voiceover business and in your career. So so that's super, super important.
This is becoming a session of hope, of inspiration, from the word go. You've only been talking about how to follow and how to achieve what you love. Someone sometime back wrote that your energy is contagious. Someone wrote that it is amazing to see the passion with which you're speaking, and it is reflecting in the way you're modulating your voice. So I guess that's interesting. So Rachel, that's interesting, and I guess the coming year or two is going to be very crucial, because in India we are working on framing regulations to safeguard the intellectual property or the IP of your individual voice. That is going to be important. That is one important element that we are hoping our government will work on. The other thing is to work on a licensing system in India. I'm not sure how does it work in the UK, but in India, we still do not have a very robust system when it comes to licensing or royalty. So why don't you fill us with details on how does it work in the UK when it comes to commercials, or when it comes to audiobooks or corporate films? How does the licensing work there?
So in the UK, we tend to do something called a buyout. So that's in I know in the US they're very much like there's payments that kind of continue royalties with a lot of broadcast stuff. In the UK, we're very much buyout. So usually you you sort of license your voice out for a certain amount of time. And you know, I'm always talking to people about getting as much information from your client as possible. And so often, you know, you ask your client, where is this being shown? How many people is it going to be shown to? Oh, we don't know. Yes, you do know, because you're going to be selling that on an advertising place somewhere. So just keep pushing.
You do know.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
so keep pushing. You know, and I, you know, my big thing as well is always to, you know, if you have somebody who approaches you, or there is a potential for a big job and you're not sure what you should and shouldn't be doing, go to an agent. Okay, even if you're not represented, go to an agent, because agents know, you know, they know what should be, you know, charged, and they know how to do contracts. And it's a really wonderful opportunity, if you haven't got an agent, to go to an agency that you would like to be represented by, say that you've got this job, can they help you? And you will give them a cut, and they'll be like, of course, because you're just basically handing them money. But it also will mean that then you're more like, they're more likely to say, well, why don't you stay, because you've made us money. So that's quite a nice little little kind of tip there, guys. But yeah, so yeah, we do have in the UK, well, when we were part of Europe, it was better in terms of the copyright laws and copyright protection. So we do have quite a lot of copyright protection, more than in the US. But having left the EU, it's not quite as strong now. And there is, you know, there's still a lot of work to be done. But I do think that we're living in exciting times, and I do think, you know, I think absolutely the key is to make sure you are surrounded by the right people, and that you know, don't just do a job because it seems like, oh my gosh, you know, that's $1,000. Wow, that's brilliant. That's gonna, you know, that'll pay my rent for a couple of months or whatever. Know that, you know, you need to make sure that in the contracts that you are not selling your voice away, because there are all sorts of things, particularly when you go into the American market. The US market is very exciting, and that, you know, the money that you can make in the American market is huge. But if you have then sold your voice, let's say, to a small, you know, car company, and you think, oh yes, $1,000, brilliant, that's forever, in perpetuity, and then you get offered a BMW commercial in America that could have paid you $100,000 or $200,000, you know, or $1 million, then you're really, yeah. So you just need to be careful about where, you know, what you sign, and don't, you know, sign in perpetuity, and get advice, and speak to other voice actors.
Absolutely. This is a common caution or a common advice that even at our end, we have an association that is also trying to work very hard. Even at India Voice Fest, we've been trying to educate people about the fact that you need to be educated. You need to upgrade yourself. You need to start learning how to read contracts, and do not fall for a short-term gain to lose rights over your voice forever, because you might just might be the last job that you'll do. So this, I guess, is a constant struggle that that this industry has in every country, and I guess the next few years are going to be defining, because technology is evolving very fast, and governments need to catch up in terms of regulation. But more than the government, I think the artist community has to come together and has to learn how to fight this. So absolutely, I get that, and yeah, I appreciate your views on that. Rachael, I want to come to another very interesting point. When it comes to setting up a home studio, in India, pre-pandemic, very few voice artists had the know-how or the requirement or any reason to set up a home studio. While I would like to believe that in the US, especially, almost 40% of voice artists work out of a home studio, and they really invest a lot into developing a good studio. I know that you have a lovely professional home studio. So why don't you take us through that? Oh my God, this looks very interesting. So why don't you take us through the process, and why don't you give us some wisdom about the importance of investing in a good setup? Because I think we are still looking at it as an expense. And I've been trying very hard to explain to people that we need to change our attitude, because we are a business. So it's like if you set up a store to sell clothes, you will have to set up, you will need to have good interiors. You will need to have good shelves. You will need to
Yeah.
have good lighting. You can't just dump them on a table. So
Yeah.
similarly, as a voiceover artist, post-pandemic, now the pandemic taught us that we need to have a studio.
Yeah.
And so, what are your views on setting up a studio in terms of the resources, in terms of how do you get yourself to agree to invest in a studio?
So yeah, it's such an interesting one, the home studio, and I want to just start by saying that, guys, when I went to college and did performing arts, and at the end of the 2 years, the teacher said to me, I did very well, apart from she said to me that I wasn't technically minded. That's what my teacher told me, and you all know what it's like when somebody says something like that, and it sticks with you. So then when it came to me setting up a home studio, I was completely like, okay, this is somebody who was told she's not technically minded. Okay. So I really, really struggled. Now, any of you who struggle with, technology and feel like, tech, please know that if I can set up a home studio, so can you. Okay. So just wanted to start off by saying that. Once you get it set up, you don't have to touch it. Okay. It's very, very easy to use. The importance of having a home studio, I cannot stress enough, because as voice actors, you can work with clients anywhere in the world, and you can have agents anywhere in the world. And literally, once you have your home studio set up, the world is your oyster. You can be working with clients in America, in Australia, in France, in Germany. I have clients in Thailand, in Mexico, in Canada. And it really does open up the world. And it means also that you can be earning the money, on that level. So in the UK, the voiceover industry, you will be getting what we earn as our hourly rate, and insane when you work with clients in the US. So you can, it's incredible and very exciting. And knowing that, there are agents who would love to have you on their books. They don't have Indian voice actors, on their books,
Mhm.
and they need to. And to think about the fact that in the industry right now, it's all about authentic casting, which is wonderful, and that has really opened things up. And with the pandemic, so casting directors are now they want different voices, they want different accents, and they want authentic voices and authentic accents. And agents need authentic voices and authentic accents on their books so that they can help their clients. So just understanding that and knowing that, wow, so it is actually, you are a bonus to agents, the fact that you have a different accent, that you have other skills, other languages. That is amazing. And those are needed in different parts of the world. So the opportunities are incredible. And I know that helping Neha and getting her over in the UK, and just is obviously, there are slight differences, and you need to be aware that when you're working with clients in different parts of the world, there are different rates. So finding out what those rates are, so you're not undercutting the local voice actors. Also, thinking about the time zone changes and how you will get paid as well is important. But it's really exciting. It's really exciting. And absolutely, it is an investment. So as a voice actor, we are businesses, and you need to invest in your home studio. Super important. And also, you need to invest in your training. You can't, gone are the days. I mean, when we came into the industry, yeah, we were all winging it, right? Okay, we were. We got away with that because there wasn't the competition. But now there's so much competition that you can't get away with just kind of turning up and just winging it. You need to train. And there are so many wonderful opportunities to train with the best. We do workshops. We recently, in fact, we've got another one coming up with the director and casting director of Pokemon. Like, how cool is that? And she's looking for talent. She came on the webinar and she told me she is looking for talent, and they're looking for different accents and authentic casting. And so those are the kinds of opportunities that you want to be able to get your hands on. Now, there's this wonderful sort of thing about luck. People talk about luck. What is luck? What is luck? Luck is when preparation meets opportunity. So you need to be prepared as you can. Get everything ready. Get your home studio ready. Make sure your training, get your website, your demos, everything ready for those amazing opportunities so that you can grab hold of them with both hands and not let go. The worst that you do not want to be in that position where that amazing opportunity, that dream job, whether it is being in Pokemon or being the lead role in a AAA video game or being in a Disney movie, that comes along, you want to be able to grab hold of it and be ready for that opportunity. For that, and that's luck, preparation and opportunity.
Fantastic. Absolutely. I mean, I couldn't agree more. And I'm so glad that we cannot impress upon this more or enough that one needs to be ready. And
Yeah.
I think this is one grievance, or this is one concern that I have with many people who are coming into the craft today.
Yeah.
Everyone is in a rush.
Yeah.
So I often joke that if you want to be an overnight success, be ready to put in 20 years.
Yeah.
So,
It's
so
true.
we often joke that when clients ask us, why do you charge so much for a 30-second line or a
Mm.
10-second tagline? Um, I tell them I'm not even charging you for the 10-second line. It's completely free. It's free for you. Take it.
Mm.
I'm charging you for the 20 years I spent
Yeah.
in perfecting my craft to be able to say that 10-second line in
Yeah.
10 seconds without taking the entire day. So
Yes.
I guess what you're saying is so profound that one needs to understand that luck is nothing but preparation meeting opportunity. And the word preparation is probably 90% of your journey is your preparation
Yeah.
to be able to make good that opportunity that comes your way. And I hope people who are watching, especially younger people or people who are just entering the craft, I hope this gets into them, that there is no shortcut to success. And people who are gloating over the success of popular voiceover artists today, and who are getting carried away by their social media success or by their awards, they need to understand that there's a backstory to every artist. And one of the things that one needs to do today is invest in a good studio, or invest in a good room, invest in a good environment, invest in a good
Yeah.
microphone, invest in educating yourself. Because just because I have a guitar doesn't mean that I can play it, because I,
Yeah.
for one, cannot. So
Yeah.
just because I have a voice doesn't mean that I can sing. So just because you have a very high-end microphone, just because you have a Neumann, doesn't mean that you can really make use of it unless you have the right room for it. So Rachel, what would you recommend as an entry level? I'm not sure if you want to take this, but as an entry level studio, if someone who's just starting out and they want to have a good sound, they want to have a simple but a good setup, would there be any recommendation from your side? What would be an entry level equipment that you would recommend?
I mean, there's lots of amazing there's loads of wonderful microphones and interfaces that you can get now. And here at the Voiceover Network, we have partner companies, so you get an amazing discount on our partners' products and services. So Sennheiser have got some beautiful microphones. We've got Audient do wonderful interfaces. The ID 14 is really wonderful. Focusrite also have some packages. But when you come and join the Voiceover Network, what happens is we have some amazing. We have a wonderful relationship with a company called Studio Spares, and you get a one-to-one with one of our sound engineers at Studio Spares, and they will help you with your home studio setup, and they'll take you
That's
through
great.
what
That,
what
that's
gear works best for your voice, because everybody's voice is different. And it also,
yeah.
what's really important with your home studio is, yes, the tech is important, but it's actually the acoustics are super, super important. So
Oh,
just
please ask me about it. I've been shouting from every rooftop.
yeah,
Don't bother so much about your microphone.
yes,
Bother about your room.
yes,
Bother about your acoustics. Absolutely. And
because
I guess
sometimes you're
people,
actually
I tend to
yeah,
see, yeah, I tend to see people putting the cart before the horse
yes,
and wanting to buy the most expensive microphone
yeah.
without thinking about the space that they have. So please go ahead.
Yeah,
Please tell
and
us.
it's so interesting because actually sometimes you're better off with a cheaper microphone, guys. Because
Absolutely.
if your space isn't acoustically good and you get a really good microphone, it will make it sound worse. It will sound terrible.
Absolutely.
So so having the right acoustics is really important. And I know, worrying about external sounds, and I think this can be a real block for a lot of people about home studios. Oh no, because I've got sounds outside. My first home studio, I I was on the junction of a really busy road. There was a bus stop outside. I was under the flight path for Heathrow Airport,
Okay.
an ambulance station down the road. So I had a lot of things to deal with, and I had pillows and a duvet over my head, and I had to stop and start every time a plane went over. So I tell you that story because
Oh, it's the same. So it's the same everywhere. So it's the same story. A pillow and a duvet everywhere. So, but I have a duvet hack that I'll tell you about. But please
Oh,
go on.
nice. But yeah, so you do need to just get started. I do believe in getting started, but doing the best that you can with what you've got. And really the acoustics. So the acoustics and learning about the acoustics, this is where it bounces, the sound bounces and echoes and it sounds terrible on a microphone. So, you might be, investing in something like, so this is called a PVB, a portable vocal booth. And they're amazing. So something like that, might be the thing for you, that you can just, put up, and or that you can get a whole booth made, you can have custom made. But really understanding where you're going to have your booth, your environment, what challenges you have, and speak to experts. You get advice. Where you are not expected, just so you know, you're not expected to be a sound engineer.
Yeah.
You aren't. You don't need to go and do an expensive sound engineer course. Like I I press record, I press stop. I do very little editing because I always know there's going to be a sound engineer somewhere on the in the chain. So
Yes,
that's a really important
absolutely.
thing just to drop in as well. And
Yeah,
you
but a
hear different
portable
people
but
saying
a
different
portable
things
voice
about,
booth is a great idea. Yeah, portable voice
yeah,
booth is a great idea.
yeah.
But so the interesting thing, Rachel, is so India is a very interesting place.
Hmm.
We are a very noisy country. We are about 1.4 billion people. So at any point of time, wherever you are, there are a lot of us around, and we speak. And then there are too many vehicles, too many cars, too many bikes. I travel to your side of the world very often, and I often know, and I do notice that what is noisy for you is quaint and silent for me, because I come from India. So yes, so I think for us a major concern or a major point of interest uh, is to ensure that the room is quiet.
Yes.
Once the room is quiet, then you move to the next level of ensuring that there's a decent amount of acoustic where the sound doesn't bounce off too much. And even if you're using a duvet, I
Yeah.
was telling you that I notice, at least in our part of the world, I notice that people tend to just put it on their head if they're in a hotel room, and then they record, and then they're still wondering why is the sound muffled. And I tell them that we need to have a basic understanding of acoustic, that the human voice needs to travel.
Yes.
So by closing the area, by just putting the duvet on your head, you are closing the recording area or the acoustic area, and obviously the sound is going to get trapped, and it's going to
Yeah.
sound muffled. So what I tell them is every hotel room has a chair. Come on, every hotel
Yes.
room has a chair.
Yes.
Get a chair and keep it at the far end of the bed,
Yeah.
and you sit at the other end and create like a 6 feet long vertical lengthwise area, and then put the duvet over one side of the chair
Yeah.
and the other side of the duvet above your head, and you
Yeah.
sit on your knees and create a decent enough room with a decent enough volume of
Yeah.
air for your voice to travel. And even so, hacks work.
Yes.
Sometimes even these hacks work. Maybe we can't get a studio like you, but yes, but a hack would work. But
Yes.
yeah, a studio like what you have would be a nice touch.
Definitely. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, we've all done the studios in the hotel rooms. I like to use the ironing board. I get the ironing board out and bring that
Ah,
out and
that's
put that.
interesting. Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah, it works. But yeah, it's so funny. But
A
if
bunk
you,
bed, a
but
bunk bed, a bunk bed in a hostel.
yeah,
If you land up in a hostel, and if
yeah,
there's a bunk bed, and
yeah,
if you're lucky enough to have the lower side of the bunk bed, just put the duvet over from the top, and it becomes like a nice 3 feet by 7 feet voice recording booth, and it works wonders.
Definitely. There are loads of amazing things,
Loads of
and
amazing hacks.
technology is getting more advanced. And actually, interestingly, saying about AI, now I haven't used this, but I have heard that there's an incredible AI technology that's come out that can clean audio for voice
Are
actors.
you talking about Enhanced by Adobe?
Is that what it is?
Yeah,
I haven't
Adobe
even looked
Enhanced,
into it, but
Enhanced,
there's
yeah.
but
Hmm.
yes, and it cleans up
It
all the
works one. It works like a
yeah,
charm. It works like a
yeah,
charm. But again, it depends on where are you using it. If you're
yeah.
using it, if you're going to broadcast it on a podcast or some other such, which is going to be plugged into your ears and people are going to hear it, it's fine. But
Okay.
if you want to use it, if you want to really push it on air, on or for a film or for an advertisement, it might just not work. But yes, the
Yeah.
Adobe Enhance plugin or is it works like a dream. Absolutely works like a dream. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
there are a lot of interesting. In fact, tonight, India time, 8 p.m., we have Don Barnes, who's
yeah.
who's a very renowned audio engineer, audio expert for helping you get the best voice using plugins and using softwares. In fact, he's joining us, and I'm really looking forward to learn a trick or two or a few techniques from him on how we can get a better recording done in a home studio. So that'll be interesting.
Nice. Nice.
But it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing, Rachel. I must compliment you. We started off with introducing you as a voice artist, but the kind of entrepreneurial zeal that you've shown, not just in this session while talking to us, but even through your work and the kind of command that you have over even technical stuff of recording, of setting up a home studio. It's amazing. You literally absolutely multifaceted, and
Thank
we
you.
I can't tell you enough how delighted I am because this session, this recording is going to be up there on YouTube and Facebook forever. And that's the best part about India Voice Fest, that all these online sessions, there's no paywall, everything is available free for everyone. And obviously, kudos to people like you who have been so generous, and also stalwarts from the voice industry in India who come in every year. This year, we have almost 40 speakers over
Amazing.
10 days in about 20 sessions, and each one of them is an absolute stalwart and veteran in their own right. And to get a perspective from an international speaker, you represent a different country. While the craft might be the same, but the dynamics of every country where you come from are different, and you bring so much wisdom and insight into a session like this. So I can't thank you enough for that, Rachel.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, no, it's amazing to be doing this. And I've never been to India. So guys, come and join the voiceover network and then I can come and teach a workshop. I'll come to India and
We would
we'll do an
love that. We
in-person
would
event.
love that. Whenever that happens, consider me as your host,
Yes.
India Voice Fest as your host in the country. I would personally love to host you. And that would be amazing. India is an enigma. We are
Yeah.
not just a country, we possibly are the most amazing country in the entire world. And I mean, one visit to India will never be enough. You
Yeah.
will need to make many, many visits to explore different parts of the country. And I consider this as an invite from the voiceover community of India for you, Rachel. And I had something in mind. Why don't we teach you a word or two of Hindi?
Yes, please.
So let's do one thing. Let's get you to say that you are Rachel Naylor, and this is India Voice Fest.
Okay.
Let's get you to say that. So let's start with the first part, which says, "Hello, I am Rachel Naylor." So it would be Namaskar, मैं हूँ Rachel Naylor.
Okay.
Namaskar, मैं हूँ Rachel Naylor. Let's try that.
Namaskar, Mehu Rachel Naylor.
Beautiful, beautiful. 10 on 10. And let's go to the next part. और ये है, and this is, और ये है India Voice Fest.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Is that right?
So it'll be like, और ये है India Voice Fest.
Oh yeah, India Voiced Fest.
Beautiful, beautiful. That's fantastic. That's fantastic. So we got you to speak in Hindi the next time you're here. I'm sure you pick up fast. So you know that
Thank
you
you.
you're very
Thank
fast. So I'm sure.
you.
And Hindi is a beautiful language. Kem cho is a beautiful word in Gujarati, which means how are you? So someone said Kem
Oh,
cho, Rachel. You
Rachel.
can say Majama.
Majama.
Majama would mean I'm fine. I'm doing well. So it's a
Oh,
beautiful language. So we have so many languages in the country, and each language is beautiful. But there's no language as beautiful as the language of love and friendship. And what you've done today for us, Rachel, you've spoken the language of love and friendship. So thank you so much. It has been an absolute delight. And Rachel, thank you. And I must on record again thank Neha Gargava, who's a brilliant
yes.
voice artist and a dear friend. She's the one who put us together, who connected us.
Mhm.
And I hope to remain connected. I hope we will connect in times to come.
I can't wait to come to India. I'm very excited. So I will make that happen. And guys, as I said before, yeah, the more of you that join the voiceover network, the more we'll be able to do something out in India. So that'll be fantastic. And also I want to say as well, do feel free to follow me on social media. Rachael.Naylor on Instagram, and I'm on all the other platforms. So do, come find me, follow me, message
It should not be
me.
difficult to find Rachel. Her ID is Rachael.Naylor, the beautiful face. Thank you once again, Rachel, and you have a lovely day. And from all of us at India Voice Fest, once again, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you everybody for joining me. I look forward to meeting lots of you in person one day. And have an amazing rest of your conference. Congratulations again on what you've created with India Voice Fest. I think it's amazing. I think you're incredible, very inspiring, and yeah, I'm honored to be part of it. Thank you.
Lovely. Thank you, Rachel. Bye-bye.
Bye.